gap increases by a few important seconds, and motorbike still in the gap, so opportunities perhaps for the riders behind to get across. Now there's a little bit more cooperation between those two. Visconti naturally is not contributing at the back after his efforts. Bilbao in the dark green of Caja Rural knows all about top 10 finish. He'd like a bit more than that. Chinetsky just in front. Cillian has managed to make it in again for Katusha in red, number 6. He's driving along in the front and doing what he can with what's left of his energy.
This is fascinating now. It does look as if Sergio Henao and Jon Izagirre are combining together at the front. The person getting the easiest rides is Visconti. But of the two of them in the front, it looks to me as if Sergio Henao looks like the strongest. But we go over the top of this climb, still the pressure on Katusha. They're the riders that have had to do very little in this breakaway so far. Bilbao still in there for Caja Rural, but I'll tell you what, if they can bring Visconti back, then he's not out of this one bit whatsoever.
Visconti's not riding at the back, and he's getting a little bit of recuperation. Opportunity to get a bit of a breather as Sergio Henao, hands on the tops, perfect 90-degree angle, and piling on the pressure as perfect 90-degree angle in his elbow, I should point out. Jon Izagirre with the green helmet and the dark colours of Movistar, the Spanish rider leading the Colombian.
The thing is, Declan, they had two Movistar riders with one Sky there. If they'd instead of attacking each other, if they'd have stayed together, you know, in the last few kilometres, then you start playing the 1-2 and tiring out. The tactics come in. But because they started, attacking each other straight away, that means that Visconti wasn't able to stay with them. So it's now 1 against 1 when they could have had, and I think, 2 against 1. But that's the way they've played the tactics, and I think at this moment Sergio Henao looks stronger than Jon Izagirre. So 3.4 kilometres to go. It's going to be a tense final because they have to keep riding, because this group is only 16 seconds behind them.
Oh, what a day's racing we've had so far. 12 riders out front initially, swelled to 14, and then they were caught within 65 kilometres of the finish. They picked up by a select group which included some of the most of the leading teams, and they've all been whittled down now to a group of 2 out front, chased by 5. It's looking a little bit better for those 2 riders out front inside the final 3 kilometres of the Gran Premio Miguel Indurain for 2016, as Sergio Henao, accompanied by Jon Izagirre of Team Movistar, head towards the base of that finishing climb inside the final kilometre, heading towards the town of Estella. That's where that final kilometre hill is. Izagirre behind, just tightening up his shoes. Once upon a time it would have been toe straps. Sergio Henao in front of him continues to pile on the pressure and consolidate this gap of 18-19 seconds. And Moreno Moser has a little look around and looking for a little bit more help from Bilbao. And these riders, I think, are thinking about the finish. They're thinking about how they're going to ride that finishing climb, and they can't afford to do that at this moment.
Yeah, still only 21 seconds. If I was Jon Izagirre, I would say to Sergio Henao, it's over to you now, because I've got Visconti behind. So, I would heap the pressure on Sergio Henao, but it looks as if he's prepared to ride. And unfortunately, in that last climb, it did look as if Sergio Henao was the strongest. But 1 against 1 now, man against man. Flick of the elbow from Jon Izagirre from now on. If I was him, I would just sit on the wheel and just try and play a little bit of the waiting game, because I don't think these riders behind will manage to come back inside the last kilometre.
On the outskirts of the finishing town, and just heading towards this past the bull ring. Empty today, everyone out watching the bike race, as well they might. And now, side by side and looking, they're using up what they've got. 27 seconds is what they're indicated hitting this final climb. So I suppose they do have a little bit of time to just think about what they're just about to do, because it is going to be an act of supreme violence to their personal being. Because Sergio Henao sitting on the wheel of Jon Izagirre. Who's going to fire first? The early skirmishing on this climb, 7% at this point. But still a way to go, 800 metres. And that's going to feel like a lifetime, especially as they climb what is a relatively easy rate for these riders. Still 29 seconds, the gap is going out, as I suspect something similar is prevailing behind. The riders behind perhaps resigned to their fate, racing for a position on the podium. These two thinking only about who's going to get the victory. Izagirre in front for Team Movistar. Remember, he was second 12 months ago, and he's leading the Colombian. Sergio Henao of Team Sky.
Yeah, constant looking behind by Izagirre. He's waiting for this attack from Sergio Henao, and it's going to come. It's definitely going to come. But you know, if I was Izagirre, I would have let Sergio Henao lead from the front. You know, he's got a teammate behind here in Visconti, but I'm not too sure that Jon Izagirre is, you know, being tactically astute at this moment, because the attack is going to come from behind from Sergio Henao.
It's coming any moment now. Behind there's a similar game of cat and mouse with Cillian, who one would expect isn't going to be the stronger of the two Katusha riders. He's left to lead them into the base of the climb. And Izagirre, well, he wants eyes in the back of his head right now. Looking over his right shoulder. Sergio Henao, surely going to go left any second now. And there it goes, there is the attack, and it's just a little phony war. It continues. And he's trying to push Izagirre into going first, and it's worked. And if he can find a way past, it's a nice tactical play by Sergio Henao. We're inside the final few hundred metres, and this is going to be a gunsling all the way to the line as Jon Izagirre leads them through the final couple of turns. Has Sergio Henao got anything left inside the final 50 metres? Jon Izagirre is going to lead them to the line. Is he going to hang on? Sergio Henao gives it up because Jon Izagirre has taken the victory. He fired first, and he had what it took. And Team Movistar get another victory in this race, and Jon Izagirre improves on his position from 12 months ago to take the victory as third across the line. Moreno Moser proved that he does have a great finishing sprint up the hill. Great performance too from Visconti to